Alright guys, in this video, I thought it would be fun to go over 5 things not to do at your office job. Now, I've had a handful of office jobs, and I've had my own experiences and insight into what people do that's embarrassing or I think it's wrong, and there's some things I've done that I think I shouldn't have done, and I stopped doing now. Because life is a journey and you learn as you go. But anyways, these are 5 things I think you should never do at your office job. So the first one is do not trust your coworkers. I know that sounds pretty, pessimistic and negative, but you should always just be careful about information you pass along the workplace about yourself or about certain things, because you never know who might use that information against you. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean you can't be in good relationship with your coworkers and be mutual and respectful and actually be friends. You could do all that stuff. You could have a good time, but just don't get too comfortable, because you never know who's out there waiting to gossip behind your back and use certain things against you for their own leverage. Because at the end of the day, the main reason people are working at the job is to pay their bills and to make money. That's the reason. If it wasn't for that paycheck, you wouldn't be sitting there. But yeah, just be careful. No matter how cool someone seems on the surface, you never know what they intend to do to you in the workplace. You never know who they are in their personal life outside of work. You could be dealing with a handful of different types of people. Some are legitimately cool and some are sociopaths. It's hard to tell, So your best bet is to just make sure you tread carefully, and that you don't trust any of your coworkers, and you just do your work, be respectful, and go home at the end of the day. The next one is do not date your coworkers. There's a wise saying that goes, "Do not shit where you eat," and basically it means that where you make your money and where you, the place where you rely on to live your life, you should be careful about what you do there, because if you burn your bridges or you develop a bad reputation there, you're going to have to look for another job, and it's going to put your life in a tough situation. And one of those things is dating your coworkers. And the reason is because when you're dating people, it's not guaranteed it's going to work out. Most of the time it doesn't. When you're dating people, it's good for like the first few weeks or month or whatever, but things get weird. You're eventually going to argue. There's eventually going to be drama. Now, that's, for the most part, that happens in your personal life, like in your apartment, in your house, or wherever you guys hang out at. But if it happens at your work, what if your boss sees? What if your manager sees? And these people work with the person you're dating. So if there's drama in the workplace and it gets in the way of your work, and people are now invested in your personal life about how you navigate a relationship and stuff, that's just going to be, what's the word? That's going to be distracting in the workplace, and not only that, it's just going to be uncomfortable. So just stay away. Don't do that. No matter how attractive you think that person is in your office, don't go date them. And if you do, be prepared to go to another job, because let's just say you think this girl at your job is like the girl of your dreams, and you don't want to let a job get in the way of potentially meeting your soulmate or whatever, some Twilight shit. Well, okay, if you actually believe that, you can go for it, but the majority of people who do go for it will eventually need to, one of you guys, whether it's you or your partner, one of you guys will eventually need to work somewhere else. I know this because I've known people that dated their coworkers and stuff, and it didn't take that long for one of them to want to work somewhere else, because it's just awkward to work with their spouse. Now, I'm sure there's outliers out there, but those are the exception to the rule, and I'm sure the workplace is a different type of workplace than your typical office job. Um, you know, people already gossip a lot at a workplace as it is, even though they try not to, it happens. So if you're gonna start dating someone, and your Mondays are gonna be worse, trust me. You're gonna go home, see your partner, you're gonna go to work, see your partner, and then you can't talk about other things to your other coworkers because your partner's right there. It was like, I don't know this from personal experience. I've never dated a coworker, but I think the most of us could agree it's a recipe for disaster. It's better just to go to work with your coworkers, get your stuff done, and go home at the end of the day. And whatever you do at home and after hours is up to you. You could go party, you could go date, you could go do whatever you want. Just don't let it conflict with your job. That's where your bills are paid. So keep it clean, keep it professional. Next one. Do not try to be everyone's friend. I think this applies to life itself too, but specifically in the workplace, no matter how hard you try to be everyone's friend, there's always gonna be one or two people that's just not gonna want to be your friend, and that's fine. You can't please everyone. It's like you're there to work, and you should try to collaborate well with as many people as you can and be neutral about things. But it's impossible to be on everyone's good, perfect side. Someone's always gonna not like you for whatever reason. It might be your certain jokes or the way you talk or your interests. Maybe all your interests conflict with someone's political beliefs. For example, if let's just say you're vegan, which I'm not, but for example, if you're vegan and you have a coworker that's strictly like against vegans and stuff, no matter what you say, that person is not going to like you because of your diet. Or let's just say you're into guns. You go to the shooting range on the weekends and you like to show off your rifle collection, and you like the design and build quality of assault rifles, and that's just what you're into. But you're a cool guy, but someone's really like progressive and left leaning, and no matter how cool you are to that person, they're just not gonna like you because you just like to shoot guns. So whether it's the vegan example or the rifle example, it might just be really mundane things like that causes someone not to like you, and that's okay. You can't force everyone to like you. Just be the best version of yourself and be respectful, and try your best to make your workplace a place where you could get your work done in the most efficient and less stressful way you can, and just accept that nothing is perfect. All right. Number 4 is do not take anything personally. So, a lot of times people that are in management or they're in higher positions have authority over, teams. And for the most part, a lot of times I've seen people control their power in a reasonable way where they're not crazy, like in a crazy movie or anything. But I have seen some instances where some bosses do get a bit of an ego, and they might start pushing people around, and speaking down on people, and start criticizing and saying mean things. But just know that if you're in this position where you're taking negative things from a higher up, that don't let it get to your emotions. This is just a really unnatural, odd hierarchy of people in a building working. Or if you're working remotely, it's a virtual building where there's a hierarchy of people in higher positions and people in lower positions, and just the order of command coming down and going across you. So I think the best approach is just to realize you're just a cog in the machine, and no matter how cool your company is, you're always going to be some sort of cog. Let's hope that the cog you are is a shiny cog that spins efficiently, and people oil the cog so you don't rust and die. But regardless, you're a cog in the machine. So don't take any criticism or insults personally. You should just take it as a higher up just asking for something, and if you have no option to find another job, just take it for what it is, and keep putting one step in front of the other, and don't let it affect your personal life. Whatever drama and gossip happens at the workplace, you leave it once you leave work, and you go home and you do the things in your personal life that makes you happy. But just realize that a lot of people at work might have mental issues that they're not transparent about. They might have issues at their home. Maybe your boss or the VP of your department has like some weird thing going on at home. Maybe they're in trouble with their wife, or they got caught legally and something's happening, so they're just taking it out at the workplace, and you're just the person that sit next to them, so you're taking the shit. You never know. So whatever it is, you should care about your work, but if you have a crazy boss or something, don't really care about the negative comments. Just handle it at work, but after work's over, leave it there, because at the end of the day, work is just what you do to sustain your living. Lastly, do not start over decorating your desk. So ever since I started working, I always made it like a rule of mine to not bring too many of my personal belongings at work, just because I've always had the mindset of constantly moving, constantly being open to applying for other jobs, and being flexible in my own life. And I feel like people who bring in decorations and big things like a million Funko Pops like you see in this picture right here, and all their personal belongings and pictures of their family and stuff, they're trying to get settled in and stay there for a long time, which is fine. But throughout my career, I've seen instances where people did bring in a lot of their things and they get fired, and when they pack up their things in a large box because they brought too many things on their desk expecting to stay there for years and years, it's not embarrassing, but it's just hard to watch. And it's just, if you are at risk of getting laid off or fired, and you have to pack up all the shit you brought to make your desk more comfortable, that's just prolonging the uncomfortable situation of being fired. I've never gotten fired like that. I've never had to pack up my stuff, just because I've never been in that situation in the first place. But I've seen it myself from other people, and yeah, it's just something you want to avoid. But also, I think having a lot of things on your desk makes you too comfortable. It kind of sets the tone that you're going to stay there for a while. And I think for me personally, I'm not sure about you, but for me personally, I think I'm always looking for the next step. I'm looking to make, to put myself in a better position, and always moving. So, I mean, you could bring a few things here and there, maybe one or two Funko Pops, but don't do what's seen in this photo, and stack up your desk with a lot of stuff, because you never know when the company goes bankrupt and you have to pack up all your shit. But yeah, oh, what the hell? Oh, I actually have 6. Okay, we'll leave that for next time. But that's the wrap up of the 5 things you shouldn't do. Do not trust your coworkers. Do not date your coworkers. Do not try to please everyone, because you can't. Don't take anything personally. And lastly, don't over decorate your desk. Those are my 5 for now. If this video gets positive reactions, I might make another 5, and have a few more video ideas in the future. But I hope that was fun.